Good evening and welcome to Field Talk. I am Field, also known as Field of Bears, here to remind you that socialism always ends in starvation and genocide. Now, if you want to sow the field, go to paypal.me/fieldtalk, and you will get to go on the Wall of Fame and have a picture of your message tweeted out by me with a personal thank you, and you will get to be mentioned on the show. And I don't know what else I can do to sweeten the pot as of yet until I'm more internet famous. So let's work on that. Uh, Go ahead and share it around and get some people in here as soon as you want. Now on cartoons and creativity, tonight's subject. I like art. I like stories. Cartoons are a form of art that tells a story. Two things that I like, smashing together with varying results. So it may not be exactly surprising that I like cartoons. Sometimes. The way I figure it, if a studio is animating properly, the adults who happen to see their art shall be engaged on their level, but the children for whom it is intended shall not become bored. Yes, Barney, I did share this on Twitter already. So, just like all art, the Pareto principle applies. The majority of cartoons are mediocre, with a very small segment hitting upon something resonant, usually by accident, because true art is nearly impossible to do on purpose. One of the best works of art in this medium is Spirited Away by Studio Ghibli, directed by Hayao Miyazaki. Every single frame of that film is absolutely beautiful. In fact, every single frame of pretty much anything that Miyazaki directed is absolutely beautiful. But Spirited Away, man. Is a story about a girl facing the trials of the underworld to redeem her parents while leaving that world better than she found it. It is so deeply human that nobody who watches the film can help from cheering Chirihito, the girl whose name I suddenly can't pronounce, on. Of course, I have to mention Pinocchio. That one is like looking at a moving oil painting. Probably because the colors were done in paint and there's not a single wasted frame. The limitations of drawing every single frame forces artists to consider every single pen stroke. This isn't a knock against digital animation, of course. It's just a totally different medium with totally different limitations. The lack of limitations being a limitation in and of itself, forcing artists to commit or become lost in the possibilities. The Incredibles or How to Train Your Dragon are my go-to examples on great art done with digital animation. The former is a story about a family on the rocks that, when faced with an outside threat, comes together and unites to become strong enough to shoulder the responsibility of saving the world. The latter is about a young man discovering new information and bringing it back to his tribe, even though his tribe fears the unknown. These stories are also deeply important to our culture, just as the artists who craft them probably just let them happen through them rather than forcing it to happen. Oh, have been muted. Muted for the monologue. That's not very nice. If you If you do any research at all on animation, I'm sorry guys, it's awfully warm in here today. You will likely come across a criticism of CalArts style for the current squishy being cutesy style of animation started by Steven Universe and Gravity Falls, both of which are actually good shows. Now hear me out guys, hear me out. Gravity Falls is about a brother and sister uncovering the mysteries of a town, unlocking the strength of their family, and forming reliable bonds with their friends. The style is innovative, the animation is fluid, and looking at it doesn't make you want to gouge your own eyes out. Steven Universe is about a boy confronting the decisions made by his mother, and even though it wasn't his fault, cleaning up the absolute mess, hopefully through negotiation. The colors are interesting, the animation is usually convincing, and even though the artists and writers are super lefty, you can tell that they're just trying to make honest art. They are wrong about pretty much everything, and they're only right by accident. No, I think I missed Ren and Stimpy, guys. I didn't have cable for most of my childhood. These shows are not CalArts style. There is no CalArts style. Art schools do not teach particular styles exclusively. They are successful shows that innovated a style that streamlines animation in the programs that are currently in use, and less talented artists think that it is the style that succeeded. Thanks to the success of these shows, here comes the Pareto principle. Tons and tons of mediocre animation teams are now pumping out work that is obviously copying those popular shows, thinking that the stylistic choice is less risky than others. This is part of what makes those teams mediocre. They're thinking more about mitigating market risk than the success of their art, which will always be a detriment to the art. This mindset will also lead to mediocre teams looking for titles with built-in fans and try to make a continuation or reboot. I sincerely hope this reboot trend dies as quickly as possible. It is stagnating the storytelling aspect of animation, and stagnant art is dead. A shiny new style on a story already told is a shambling corpse with a glitter coat of paint on it, and even great artists will have a difficult time at breathing life back into a story that has already been told. But those guys are usually too busy letting art be done through them, and unless they're led to the past by their passion, they're much more likely to be creating the novel successes that mediocre teams then copy. The irritating thing about these coat-tailors is that they have just enough creativity and vision to tell a story different from the one told by their forebears, with characters who might be interesting in their own right, but they lack the courage to do so without slapping the name of somebody else's success on their own creations. These rebooters, if these rebooters were making their own titles, making their own characters, and then telling those stories without the nostalgia-laced veneer of a predecessor's success laid over it, they might end up being the next Steven Universe, or the next He-Man, or Masters of the Universe, or the next DBZ. Or if the team is insane enough, the next Pinocchio. I say don't buy something that is obviously using the success of the past to mitigate artistic risk and reward the risk-taking artists, even if you don't plan on watching it with the kids. But hey, I'm just a guy in a field. All right, so now, as you can probably guess, this is due to the She-Ra controversy, which is now. Hey, you know what, guys? I think I want to show you guys something just a little bit amusing to me. So I will go right on ahead and go over to my Twitter mentions and scroll on down. I just have to find it. It is unbelievably stupid. All right, here we go. Now let us over here. Okay. All right, my dudes. So this guy right here was talking about the Quarterings video. I don't know if you're subscribed to the Quartering, but he's pretty cool. He's doing a podcast with Bering and Dankula right now. Well, not at this moment, but so talked about the video. I said that she wants to write about this boyish orphan girl character who obviously isn't She-Ra, but she doesn't want to take the risk, and this guy agreed to me, and then we had a nice little chat about how our childhoods were and how media was delivered before the internet. And this person here, Gekken. Gekken does makes probably that's supposed to read as aw. This is so cute. Maybe you two could watch some videos of men fighting each other, then slip your cocks into each other's hot asses instead of whacking off to a cartoon. Like, now I want to draw attention to I'm pretty sure everyone saw this, but I want to draw attention to the fact that neither of us said anything sexual at all. And we never said anything about how the character was drawn. We just, and whether or not it was attractive, all we were saying is it's a different character that's got She-Ra's name on her, which is, not exactly cool, not a cool thing to do. And now Boymon Bear here. Like, what if they were would you watch them fist each other? And she's saying, based on the way they feel about a teenage cartoon girl's chest, I assure you, they're not women. But yeah, sure, I've been a part of that situation. And I ask it to tell me where I opined on her chest, and he disappeared. So, but I also had a little bit of a fun thing. Oh no, I'm not sure I can find. Here we go. Now that insult was obviously supposed to make me feel uncomfortable about my sexuality, which she doesn't know. Like, I'm not particularly attracted to anybody. I'm like open to the possibility of finding a woman who is super attractive and I want to marry, because I like the idea of becoming a father, but I don't exactly, feel things about either gender at the moment. So yeah, I've actually found out about this from the Quartering. I don't know if he's released a new video that I haven't seen yet, though. But thank you for letting me know. So I point out that she's failed in her reading competence. She she failed in her reading comprehension. I said that I was too young to have a connection with He-Man, and that the up-and-coming animators are my age, and that might be a factor in why it doesn't look like they respect the source material. And then I say we had a nice little exchange about which 90s shows resonated with us or did not, why, and talked about, like I said earlier. And holy cow. And this is where it pretends like it wasn't attempting to make me feel uncomfortable about my own sexuality, saying, oh my lord, now fucking someone in the ass is an insult according to you? Interrobang. Question mark? Oh wait, no, just two interrobangs. Holy shit, who's the homophobe now? And I didn't hear anything after telling her not to pretend that, well, it hurt. I don't know what the heck this person is pretending to be. Don't pretend to be dumber than you are. It's extremely unconvincing. Then, for good measure, I called it a bigot because that's what they generally do. And I don't understand why just criticizing this lack of courage. My position is pretty simple. I think that what rebooters are doing is riding off of the artistic coattails of successful people before them, and I don't think it's cool. So I don't see how you can conflate that with some kind of with the position of, I guess, some people who say I want big titties in this child's cartoon. Like, no, like it's okay to draw an accurate female form, all right? No, I'm not streaming on Periscope. I found that trying to stream Periscope wasn't working when I was doing the YouTube as well, Barney. And if we don't have much more to talk about besides what I got out in the monologue and that cartoon, and honestly, I'm seeing a lot more things like that exchange. I'm seeing a lot of people conflating the criticisms with some kind of desire to see what you're sexually attracted to in the art. But the thing is people, it's not so much that they want to see sexy things in children's cartoons as they just don't want to see ugly things. They don't want, and that's not to say that character with She-Ra's name on her is particularly ugly, but calling her She-Ra is ugly. You've got a completely different character, no longer He-Man's twin sister, no longer a princess, and is instead an orphan and has a completely different body type, and there's nothing wrong with that body type. That she's drawn. It's just a different character. So it's like if you're going to use a different set of materials as your source, then you should respect the materials. A good example of respectful reinterpretation of source material is Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. Those are excellent interpretations of the Lord of the Rings for film. A much less excellent example would be the Hobbit trilogy, which is a god-awful interpretation of the one Hobbit book with sprinklings of the Silmarillion thrown in there where they don't belong, and a weird love triangle between Legolas, who was not in either of those books, and Keely, and that elf chick. Because apparently you just always need a love triangle. I don't understand it. So, you know, yeah, today wasn't particular. I got a good monologue in. I don't think I have much more to say about that. I can tell you what surprises me is that the left is absolutely just mad. They continue to I uh, they're not even fun to talk to anymore because it's just they're they're rambling, they're jabbering, I don't even know what they're saying anymore. They're just chanting about treason in Russia, and their entire proof is that Donald Trump was polite and diplomatic at a meeting where he was meant to be conducting diplomacy. It's like, do they not understand that these sort of heated discussions happen behind closed doors? That the press doesn't get to look at when leaders confront each other over accusations that have been flying through our media for the past 2 years? They don't get to see that. Like, it's very important that the Russian president doesn't appear weak to his people. It's extremely important. And if it looks like if Vladimir Putin thought that Donald Trump was belittling him, he would haul off and do some military action just to prove that he isn't under Donald Trump's thumb. And then we would have to confront it. And it would cost blood and treasure and it would be awful. So do people not understand how any of this works? And they're going around talking about how no president has ever spoken to a despot like this. Are you kidding? Every single president has spoken to Vladimir Putin, in fact, exactly the same way, except less effectively. So that's my opinion on that, and I thought I'd said enough about it yesterday, but I suppose not. Now it's awfully warm in here, guys, and I would like to go eat dinner, so I think I will tell you that if you enjoyed the stream, go ahead, hit a like, share it. My socials are down in the description, and oof, awfully warm, awfully warm in here. I can't wait to fix the air conditioner. Socials are down in the description. PayPal.me/Field Talk if you want to sow the field, or basically just tip me, throw me some cash. Be very nice of you. Subscribe, hit the bell if you want notifications. You can follow me on the socials. Those are down in the description, like I just said. And this has been Field Talk, and I am the Field, also known as Field Affairs. Have a wonderful night, and never forget that socialism always ends in starvation and genocide.